Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. I think everybody, Democrats, maybe they should pass out your book tomorrow about resistance, because when this Mueller report comes out, what's going to happen when there's nothing in it? They're going to go nuts again.
Oh, no one is going to read it except them, and they will find some lingo that will be favorable to them, and that's all we're going to hear over and over again. What you have to remember about Mueller and the Mueller report, I write about him and his prosecutors. All you need to know in resistance is futile. And although he isn't, the Superman they've made him out to be, he's presided over a lot of complete disasters like the Olympic City bombing. And I think he did that one. I know he did the anthrax scare.
Where he had the wrong guy.
for like 15 years. They ended up having to pay that guy an enormous amount of money, and it was all the fault of the FBI when Mueller was there. And I wouldn't have bothered, picking on him, i.e. telling the truth about some of his greatest hits. And that's far from the only one. It really was. He was heavily involved in that, every day getting briefings, and there were FBI agents who kept saying, it's not this guy, we're wrecking his life. It's leaking to the media, and there are helicopters outside this poor guy's house. I mean, he really hounded somebody and destroyed a guy's life. He was the head of the FBI back then. But as I was saying, the reason I mentioned it was, and I write about this in Demonic, the difference between liberals and conservatives. The left really comes from the French Revolution. They're mobs. They are everything they accuse Christian conservatives of, easily led. And one thing they are very prone to is heroes and villains. Whereas by and large conservatives are never that way. We never have sexual fantasies about Ronald Reagan. Oh my gosh, do liberal women, not only did they have sexual fantasies about Bill Clinton and Obama, but they were constantly writing about it, in newspapers and magazines. No, we conservatives understand that people are fallible. They can be good for a while, bad for a while. Nobody's perfect. We're just picking whom we think is going to be the best person for this job right now. Well, that's Mueller. They've gone up until the report, or at least the summary of the report came out, the left was totally doing their hero idol worship thing with Robert Mueller. So I just thought I should put in a few of his more spectacular screw-ups. But the main screw-up I think he has with this Mueller report is, and I also list their affiliations in the book. It's just, one page, bullet, bullet, bullet. All of the prosecutors he hired are left-wing zealots. They've donated enormous amounts or worked for Hillary Clinton. Now, look, I'm technically a lawyer. I know lawyers, and particularly lawyers on the East Coast, places like Washington and New York, tend to be very liberal people. But it's not 100%. It's not across the board. You also get a lot of lawyers who aren't particularly political one way or another. They're just good lawyers. He couldn't hire one lawyer like that. I mean, that's clearly what is happening with this whole release of the Mueller report. Bill Barr, the Attorney General, who is magnificent, he's very, very smart. And as I've said about Chris Kobach, he just happens to be, he happens not to hate and loathe America. So, the left considers him a hater. He's a hater. He likes our country. But as he said during his testimony, he and Mueller are friends. He and his wife go out to dinner with Robert Mueller and his friends. He is friends with Mueller. He respects him. He thinks he's honorable. The idea that he was putting out a summary of Mueller's report that flipped the conclusions, that buried the lead. Oh, give me a break. I mean, Mueller didn't hesitate when, what was it? BuzzFeed came out with some BS story about, remember it was a couple months ago, they were claiming that Trump had obstructed justice by counseling Michael Cohen to lie to Mueller's committee, and that was going to be in the report. And that was so egregious. It was just a news item. It wasn't from the Attorney General, a news item. Mueller came out and said, that's not true.
Yeah.
So if Barr's report had been inaccurate in any way, I promise you Mueller would have said something. So he obviously oversaw the process, saw there was no collusion, and if there's no collusion, it's almost impossible, i.e. some sort of crime. If there's no sort of law-breaking in Trump's behavior, then by definition there can't be obstruction of justice. There has to be justice that is being obstructed. There are a few rare exceptions to that don't exist here. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry liberals were crying. And as you said on Twitter, Nancy Pelosi is bringing in grief counseling now that when they're about to see the full Mueller report. And then we hear these leaks from within Mueller's prosecuting team. No, Barr's report was a lie. It was much worse. Wait till you see the full report. Well, these are the underlings.
Yeah.
These are the lawyers who signed up because they want to get Trump. They want to get him out of office. And I'm sure at some point there will be plenty of them or plenty of New York Times journalists who have talked to them who are going to twist and turn what the top line conclusions is. I mean, if it's 400 pages, I'm quite sure Mueller didn't write the whole thing himself. It is the top line conclusions that are relevant. And you can just imagine, Mueller sitting back talking to his left-wing fanatic prosecutors. Good work on the law. Settle down, zippy on the conclusions. I'll take care of that. And so I think we probably will get somewhat of a mixed report in that regard. You'll have, that was his name, Andrew Weisberg, I think is one of the many, again, total left-wing zealots working for Mueller. I'm sure they slipped in language that will be that will make Rachel Maddow very happy. But that's still not what the result of the report is. The result is what the independent counsel said, and little word to liberals, maybe you should stop hero-worshipping human beings. Only one perfect man ever walked the face of the earth.
You talking about me?
Well, besides you.
Oh, okay.
There was also Jesus Christ, heathen.
All right. Hey, before we run out of time, in New York, the city council wants to ban fur. The mayor's talking about banning all plastic, no plastic silverware, no plastic plates. Would you explain the role of government? It's not up to them to tell us what we're going to wear. They have no right to do these things.
No, New York is getting more and more like California, where just every day, what's the legislature's job in California? How can we make the citizens of California's lives more difficult? Oh, I have an idea. We'll ban plastic bags. We'll ban plastic straws. We'll allow illegal aliens to vote. We'll allow them to drive without insurance, and we'll have these phony driver's licenses. You know what they do in California? They now have illegal alien driver's licenses, basically. But because the illegal aliens, that's how you vote. That's how you register to vote. You present a card that shows the state that you can drive. So now, to make up for that, because they can't be used on flights that go to other states, now California has an all-new ID called the Real ID. So it wasn't bad enough standing for 3 hours in line at the DMV to get a driver's license. Now you have to get something called a Real ID. This is the real one that's not for the illegals.
They have that in New York too. They call it something else, like a validated license.
And because of this, a few weeks ago, one of my friends was flying, taking his daughter to see colleges. So he checks and he sees weeks in advance. He's very, very, very organized. Sees that he needs to get a new driver's license. There are so many people applying with all of the illegal aliens out there that just to get an appointment at a California DMV, any California DMV, he would have, driven up to Sacramento, down to San Diego, just to get the appointment where you will show up at the office and wait 3 hours, took 2 or 3 weeks to get that appointment.
Well, he should renounce his citizenship, become illegal. That way he'll get it. They'll just mail it to him.
Yes, exactly.
Well, every new column comes out tonight.
Yes, it's boffo. You're going to love it.
If you go to AnnCoulter.com, you'll be the first to get it. Actually, sign up there at AnnCoulter.com. Follow her on Twitter and get the book. The new book, Resistance is Futile. But you bring up Demonic. That's a good book to go back and read, too.
It explains everything about these liberals.
Yeah, get Resistance is Futile. But also, if you didn't read Demonic, get that book. It explains this liberal mentality and how they got that way. Just go to AnnCoulter.com, or you can get them on Amazon, of course. And Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.